and good evening everyone. Welcome to our PLO night. I'm your host Kyyberi, and this PLO night is presented by Pokerimania. Today we are going to play some PLO50, probably PLO25. In our previous evenings I have mentioned our bankroll, that we have 300 or 400 bankroll. It might be confusing. I'm not speaking about my own bankroll or proper bankroll management. If my bankroll would be $300, I wouldn't play PLO50. The thing I was mentioning is our crowdfunding. In our PLO evenings we have this pretty nice system of members being able to buy shares of our PLO night. It's like staking. The members are staking me to play this night, and I'm going to show you a thread in a couple of seconds so you can understand what it's about. On table 2, this shorty bets full pot on flop. We have overpair and we have open ender, so I'm going to call this one stab. And he's sort of tight player, and when he pots the turn he probably has an overpair, aces, kings, or some kind of two pair. I don't think he's ever potting here as a bluff because he's such a short stack. And we have only 8 outs, probably not to the nuts, so I'm just going to fold the turn. He had a wrong stat, so sorry about that. On table 3 we have aces and we have a shorty. If we 3-bet, we can put $7 in, which creates SPR 2 or something. So I'm going to just call. Alan is saying that PLO is easy game, just pot, and money's pouring in. It's like a chicken game. Pot. PLO5 is pot game, but PLO10 and upwards it's not a pot game. And on table 3 I totally missed the flop, so I'm going to fold my aces. And on table 1, double suited kings, I don't really know much about my opponent, so I'm not going to 3-bet it. I'm just going to call, and on this flop I'm going to call the c-bet and see what happens on the turn. Crowdfunding is probably one of the hardest word. On table 1 I probably have the best hand, but I'm not going to get 2 streets of value out of queens or jacks, so there's no point of me betting the turn. I get a better value by letting him bluff the turn. And on the river, ace is actually a good card for me because it reduces a lot of his aces combos. So the only hand I'm really afraid is pocket aces. And I'm going to call this always. He might be bluffing. Of course, if he had queens, jacks, he should check back. He might have pocket sixes, but now he has queen high flush and pocket queens of course. I think his river bet is terrible because here's the when there's 3 5s on the board, the only hand he can beat is pocket jacks, pocket tens. I'm probably not folding kings, aces, pocket sixes, so I don't know if his river bet is value or bluff, but it doesn't work in either way. So we have 4 tables of PLO50, and I'm going to show you. I have it somewhere in here. I have to wait that I don't have a hand going on. Now on table 3 we open. German short stacker calls and pots on the flop, so easy fold. Nothing we can do. And on table 1 we sort of missed the flop. our opponent is. I'm going to c-bet the flop, although he might raise me, but as it's a three-way pot, it's harder for him to raise as a bluff. So to raise here, he actually needs more of a hand than he would need if it was a heads-up pot. And this jack is sort of bad, it completes a lot of straights. If he had a $10 or less, I would shove the turn, but now I'm going to check back and spike the nuts on the river. That was my plan, of course. Because if I bet here on the turn, he is just going to raise me with a lot of better hands. And on the river, he has $18 left, so I'm going to think for a while and then shove and hope he has a flush. If he doesn't have a flush, he is probably not going to call any raise. So now I don't have a hand. I'm going to show you the thread. It's here in our forums, and there's some deep data. But here's the interesting part. This is the members and their share last week and their shares this week. So each one of them is actually staking me for this amount of money. Have to play some buttons here. So we have 11 members. And on this flop we hit top pair but nothing else, so I'm probably going to bet fold. Because if someone raises me, I don't have much of an equity, and I don't want to shove this. And if I check back, there aren't that many great turn cards. Of course, Queen 8 deuce gives me 2 pairs, but even if I have 2 pairs and someone raises me, I can continue. And now Richard, he's a regular, he raises me. He's going to raise a ton of ace-high flush draws here, because he knows it's hard for me to hit the flop. So if he has any ace-high flush draw, he can raise me. If I had king 7, I would probably call and shove any non-hard turn, or I had a king high flush draw here, I would shove it. But now I don't have much of a hand, so I'm going to just fold. On table 4, Danny's aggressive player who 3-bets in position all kind of high cards. He's 3-betting me. I have double suited hand, I have 1 pair, but it's not enough. It's hard to hit as hard that I can shove. Because some of my, if the flop is 9-10, he probably often have higher straight draw, so I'm going to just fold this pre-flop. Because he's such an aggressive, his range is quite wide, and he's not going to give up on post-flop easily. And here Richard 3-bets me. I'm going to call and see what happens on the flop. For some flops I'm able to float him. But now I don't have any backdoors. Any draws. I have only backdoor flush draw and small backdoor straight draw, so there's nothing I can do. I can argue about folding pre-flop, but it's such a weak line. And I'm not going to play heads up with Richard. And Shura is a calling station. I'm not opening against him. On table 3, we have the nuts. And let's hope the shorty shoves his draw. And we have actually a nuts on the turn. And we have a redraw to flush and a redraw to full house. We have everything possible. And here on table 1, I'm just going to call the flop. I thought about shoving, but top and bottom 2 pairs. If the turn is a jack or 10 and he keeps betting, then I'm pretty much beat if I don't get a flush draw. But here, when I have 2 pairs and a flush draw, I can shove it. And he had a... on the flop he had nothing, and on the turn he had a dream card. He had a wrap and a flush draw. So he got pretty lucky there. Richard fast folded 5 out of 8 times when small blind opens, so he is going to fold 63%, meaning I can open almost any hand. And on the flop I'm going to see, but I have an overpair and some back draws, flush draws. And on the turn I have a gut shot and I have the blockers to the straight if it comes, and I don't think he's going to shove here very often, because when I bet the turn I represent a strong hand, but he's just so annoying. I really don't think he's ever bluffing here. The worst hand he can have is some kind of a combo draw. So I'm going to let it go. But this table is bad. We have 2 regulars, 1 aggressive, and this Finnish guy is sort of regular stats. So I'm going to find better tables. I'm not... Richard is 25, 20 and 7. He's pretty decent player, so when he has positioned me it's going to be really hard to play. So as there are many tables, I don't have to be on the table that is hardest for me. So let me close this table and then I can show you the crowdfunding trade. Of course we're calling his 3-bet and we hit pretty decent, almost a straight flush. And I'm not raising here. I just want to make his life sort of harder. I'm going to call, of course, in a 3-bet pot. I'm never folding a flush. So if he bets here, I'm going to shove. And if he has a higher flush, then it's sort of set up. I still have 1 out. And when he bets this small, it really might be inducing something, but I don't want to give a free card. So we let it in. And he calls me. And he had just a straight, so that's kind of strange for him. But thank you. I think he got a bit of leveling there, because we had some history on table 1. So he got the straight on the turn. He made a small bet to induce me to bluff, and then he had to catch it. But in my mind, when he shoves the turn with just a straight on the flush board or calls my shove, it's kind of bad. And now I'm not really worried about the ace-jack, because I have the trips with top kicker. It's just when I see bet it looks really strong against 4 people, but I'm pretty much the only one that can represent aces. Because often, if any of these have 3 aces, they might have 3-bet. So I'm going to check here. Yes, he probably doesn't have a jack, he has a weak ace, so I'm not getting 3 streets of value. The only way with value is to make him spew out. And I'm going to shove here. exactly same thing as happened last time. And he folded, he didn't have anything. If I call the turn, it's so obvious that I have at least trip jacks. So he's not going to bluff me on the river anymore. So one hand on this table and then we sit out. There are a few questions on the chat. I'm going to go to those after I have done with the crowdfunding. And Eulos Pro is asking, what up? I had a really bad joke in my mind, but I'm not going to say it. It's just fine. And we didn't have a hand, so yeah. And here we fold. So the crowdfunding works that we have on these PLO nights. We have 11 members that have bought a share. The share can be anything from, was it from $10 and up? Yeah, $10 is the minimum and up to 200. So anyone can stake as much as they want, at least $10. And then we add all the stakes together and we have this number, which is the bankroll for the evening. And then I have thought that if we have over $250, we're going to play some PLO50. So it's sort of really aggressive bankroll management. And the catch is that if I lose, no one wins anything and I don't get anything. If I win, the winnings are split to half. So the shareholders get half of the winnings and I get the other half. So it's sort of staking for one night with 50-50 profits. And after each PLO night, all the members can decide if they want to continue the next week, if they want to reload, or if they want to cash out some or all of their money. And it has worked pretty nicely. It's pretty nice system. I said it earlier, but I like it. So there were questions. If I remember, why can't I scroll? Because I just can't. Yeah, Callan asked, have I ever tried heads up bot limit Omaha? I have tried it. And I really like PLO heads up. I think it's the best game in the world. And I have played some heads up for play money with some betting going on about winner. It's nice. I have played heads up PLO live while having beer. I have a heads up table, handmade, in around 2008 or something. I got some what's the word? I forgot it. Gift card to a guy who makes handmade poker tables here in Finland. It was some promotion on one site and I got quite many of those. So I ordered a handmade heads up table. So I have played heads up in bar. It's really nice playing live and having some beers and just having fun. In internet, heads up, the rate is really high. So if you're playing PLO25 or lower heads up with the normal rate, it's just going to murder you. So that's why I don't really play heads up online. Two reasons why I don't play heads up is that the variance is insane. On table 2 we got a 3-bet from Sora, who is shorty. His 3-bet range is super wide and cold, but I'm going to call because he's going to shove any flop. On table 3 I made a raise, I have a cut shot and overpair, but if I just call it's going to be hard out of position, so now I have a flush draw and overpair, one pair, cut shot, all that kind of stuff, and he had half a pot left, so. Now on table 2 is what I expect to happen. I reckon he's going to check, I check shorty shove, so I can see what this guy does before I commit myself. And of course if I get any piece on the board I'm going all in against Sora. And he had kings with the cut shot, so let's hope it holds, and it does. So about PLO heads up, it's a nice game, but in internet variance is high. I don't really like variance. So playing heads up, the bankroll management is quite big in that. I'll get to bankroll management later. And one thing is that I don't like the bum hunting that is going on in heads up games. Ulos Pro has played heads up more. He can tell you about the bum hunting, but the idea of hunting down weaker players and refusing to play better ones is I want to focus my mind into playing and not to some things outside the tables. So if half of my resources go to the bum hunting, it's not going to be nice for me. And well, PLO 400, actually if the cap is $60, it's going to be around PLO 100 or so. That rate is not that big of an issue. So I don't know how the heads up games are in PLO nowadays, or if the heads up zoom, is it working or not? No idea. And someone asked me, was it Dea, about when I close the table. This chat is just a bit too big. There it is. What does it take for me to change the table? What's my limit for reps table or one nasty? It really depends. When I'm sitting on the table, I'm always thinking, is it profitable to be on the table? Where does my money come from? So if there's 5 regulars, I'm probably not going to make money because each of us pays 20 BBs per 100 hands in rake. So I'm going to barrel this Brazilian guy. He probably doesn't have a strong hand, and I expect him to fold a lot on the river. If he has king jack, he might call, but any weak jack should go. But he had 2 pairs and he didn't realize that he has just a jack queen, and he got a call down, so I'm going to mark him as a green player. So the reason for me to change tables is that if there aren't any players that I can make money out of. If there's 1 player and 4 regulars, if the 1 player is really bad and is spewing money, then it's like 5 regulars trying to get money out of him, and if it seems profitable, of course I'm going to be there. If there's 1 nasty regular on my left who's making my life miserable, then I might change the table, because right now there are, if we think that good table have at least 30% players per flop race, so there's going to be around 15 tables open. So if I have a bad table, there's no need for me to sit in that table. So every time you have to think, where does my money come from? I mean, if you don't know the answer, you are probably the one that is losing money. Like here on table 3 we have the Richard on our left, we have side player on the table. VPIP 13 means that he's not losing much, but he's not giving us a lot of money, so he's not profitable, but he's not a threat. Then we have loser guy here, and maybe here, but when Richard is on my left, it's going to be a pain. I'm going to just call with my 2 pairs. And normally I would probably check raise this flop, but Richard checks back. I think Richard has weak ace or pocket kings pretty often when he checks back. He never has air. He probably has a hand that he's going to call the turn anyway, so I'm not going to bet the turn. And then I'm just going to give up. Because if he had air, he would bet the flop always. I'm not going to follow FIFA Championship that much. Because I'm not a football guy. This jersey is American football. I'm going to limp these kings, actually. Because if I open, he will call pretty much always, and this guy calls, so I just create a 3-way pot out of position. I hit the set, so now is the problem. You don't want to hit top set in a limp spot. But as I don't want to open, I'm not sure if I want to slow play it against him. But I can raise to 13, the pot would be 27, he has 14, it SPR 1.5. It's so nice. I'm going to spot it. Thought about slow play, but there are so many bad turn cards that I don't want to, because if I just call and the board doesn't pair, he's going to bet the turn I have to call, and on the river if the board doesn't pair, he's probably betting, and I have a bluff catch. So anyway, I'm going to invest a lot of money to the pot. So King 10-8, any card 6 or higher completes a straight. So there are only like 30% of the safe turns and some pairing boards, but I have raised him 3 times now with the pot size raise, and one I had a small flush, the other one didn't go to showdown, and now I raised. He might overplay some of his hand. He might think that I'm check raising him as a bluff all the time. So I had something to talk about. I have the bankroll management. We'll come to that. And about changing tables, the one big and important lesson to learn is that don't let your ego decide where you stand. Like if you lose a big pot to, let's say I lose 2 buy-ins to Richard, so I'm starting to think that no way he's better than me, I'm going to show him. And then I stick on the table and try to play against him. And then I'm not basing my decision to stay on the table on pure logic, or I would think it's plus EV. Then I'm basing my decisions on my emotions. And on poker table you don't really want to play with your emotions. So if it seems that someone is just running you over, change the table. You have plenty of tables at PokerStars, so feel free to find a better one. It's like if you go to the restaurant and the chef comes and says that it's your lucky day, you can have any meal or any dish that you want, and you can order as many as you want. Of course, you would order one dish. If it sucks, you would get the next one. If it sucks, you would get the next one until you have a really, really nice dish. But if you have that promotion in a restaurant and you have your first dish and it's burned and there's no seasoning, and you would think that, yeah, this is my dish, I have to stay with this. So it's same as you have a bad table and you decide to stay there. It's like having that burned dish on a restaurant. Yeah, Callan says that it's not such a weird play to check air in such flop. I'm opening the hand to hear. That's what came to my mind also, but then it would mean that he's thinking that I'm thinking that he's thinking what I'm thinking. So he might check back air and raise me when I spike the turn. Well, we have 500 hands history, but to order to check back air here is that he thinks I'm going to stab the bot at turn often without a hand. And the standard line is to c-bet here, because he has aces in his range a lot. And not that many players are going to raise here as a bluff. There's no draw possibilities on the board. So yeah, it's one option. One option that I thought is to check raise the turn, but then it would be he's playing on a lot of levels and I'm stepping one level higher. It's just often in these leveling wars, sometimes you have a really complex or confusing thinking process and the opponent just have quad aces. It's like Phil Calfond told a funny story in one of his videos. He was playing a no limit hold'em in high stakes, and I can't remember what was his opponent, but he had pocket aces pre-flop, and he opened pre-flop and the other guy 3-bet, and Crowdfunding said that he really thought on so many levels about the bet sizings and timing tells that he wanted his opponent to make a lose 5-bet or something. And Crowdfunding really thought a lot about that. Oh, I have top 2 here. Wow. And he donks full pot. I'm going to call, because a lot of the turns are cards that Richard is going to slow down. And of course I have the 4 outs full house. He's probably, if he has a set, it's going to slow him down, and I often get a free river, but when Leadership shoves, he probably has a straight, so that's enough for me. Leveling wars, so Phil Crowdfund was leveling in so many levels. Wow. He probably had a wrap. If he don't have 6-9, it's a horrible race. Wow. Man. This guy is so spewy. When this guy pots the turn, he has straight always, and Richard actually shoves with a blocker. With one blocker. This is bad. Wow. Not sure if he's tilting or if he normally plays like that, but yeah, well, he's all in equity edges that he's losing, but it's out of those 2 pots today. I have run it once normal account, but one day I was trying to find the free videos, but even the lowest level probably cost something today. So I don't have any account that I'm paying for. So Phil Crowdfund was leveling himself with pocket aces, and he put a lot of effort, and finally he got the stacks all in playing deep. And the opponent had pocket kings. And after the session, Crowdfund called to the guy he was playing against and wanted to know his thinking process. That Phil Crowdfund explained that he had a really complex thinking process, and he wanted to know if it made any sense, if opponent had thought in the way he thought. And the opponent said, I don't know, I was watching a movie and I had pocket king, so I shoved. So the opponent didn't even think about anything. So that's the problem in leveling wars. You think what your opponent thinks, what you think, what he might think, and it gets so many levels, and sometimes the opponent doesn't think anything. He just looks at, I have a nice hand, I shove, I'm bored. So don't go to leveling wars. In PLO50 there are so many bad players that the leveling wars are not the ones that are going to make you a lot of money. Sometimes you win a pot, sometimes you lose a pot, but your main win rate doesn't come from leveling wars. So don't go to those pre-flop 4-bet, 5-bet leveling wars. So if run over by a huge whale, it's interesting topic, because sometimes it would be plus EV technically to stay on the table, but if the huge whale is running you over, sucking you out on every hand, and he gets under your skin, like you get emotionally evolved to the hands and to the game. So when you notice that you're thinking that, man, I'm going to pay him back, I'm going to get even, that's when the alarm should go off or on, whatever it is. When you have emotions and strong emotions, your logical thinking is going down. That's what happens when you tilt. The anger, frustration, injustice, whatever the feeling is so strong that it's blocking your logical thinking. So even if the whale is running you over and you just want to get back, it might be that you're not playing your best game and it's not plus EV anymore, while having your A game would be plus EV. And especially in PLO, there's going to be a lot of big pots, there's going to be a lot of suckouts, there's going to be a lot of flips. So it's easy to get mentally, emotionally evolved to the game. And there are so many stories about PLO players who have made a nice profit but lost it all in one tilt session. And we can run or flush in a small pot. So if you want to play PLO at any level and you're serious about it, you have to be mentally strong, that when your emotions go up, you notice it and you know when to close the tables, when to take a break and cool down. Because it's so easy to lose money in PLO. Suddenly all the hands look tempting. Any hand can hit anything, and when you get angry, you want to 3-bet the shit out of your opponent, and suddenly these type of hands look, it's great to 3-bet, I have a sort of rundown. I can hit almost anything. But when you start to 3-bet these hands against decent regulars, it's not going to end up well. So about proper bankroll management. Now, these tables, this has 28 flop percentage. We have VPIP 2015 Arsonist. We have this one Brazilian guy that makes money to us, and we have the Aracorn, which is VPIP 70. So we're going to stick in this table for a while. About proper bankroll management is, it really depends. First of all, there are dynamic bankrolls and static bankrolls. Dynamic means that you can deposit more money. Like most recreational players, they have dynamic bankroll. They have a full-time job. If they lose their bankroll on the side, they just deposit some more and keep on playing. And most micro players have dynamic bankroll. It's like if you have a full-time job and you're playing PLO5, you have always money to buy bankroll. Static bankroll is that you don't have money to deposit, or you might have but you don't want to. So you have a bankroll and you have to play with that. So if your bankroll is dynamic, then you can play more aggressively if you want. If you want to get up on stage and you try to win as much money as possible in a short period of time, you can have pretty aggressive bankroll management, because if you get a downswing, you just deposit more. But if your bankroll is static, then you have to be more conservative. And in PLO, as in every poker variant, it depends on your estimated win rate. Like if you know you're crossing the stage with 20 BPs per 100 hand win rate, then you don't need to have that big bankroll as you were marginally winning player. Here we have a top pair, top kicker against the fishy guy. I'm going to call, and turn is nice card for us. And turn is even nicer. I'm going to just bet a bit here, because he probably has a bluff catcher, or he doesn't have anything. He might have slow played nines, but the flop draws busted, so if he has some kind of bluff catcher, he's going to catch it. So I can bet real big on the river. So normally it really depends from whom you ask. Some guys say that 30 buy-ins is enough, some guys say 50 buy-ins, some say that you shouldn't even consider playing PLO without 100 buy-ins. I think that something around 30 to 50 buy-ins at micros is enough if you can drop down if you had a losing session or downswing. So if dropping down to smaller stakes is not a problem, then 30 buy-ins might be enough if you are a winning player. But when you go to PLO50, PLO100, the variance goes up a lot. So then I would say that 50 buy-ins is at least minimum. Here we have a gut shot and a flush draw and top pair, and he checks the flop. So I'm going to call here. There are so many good river cards, because he might have queen 10 type of hand, and we get the nuts on the river and he pots. We have two blockers, which is nice, but there's not much he can call us with, which is worse than ours. So I'm going to make a small raise and hope he has a set and he calls me. And he does, and he has the same nuts and he didn't shove it. He didn't want to pay the raise. And he got there on the river. So did we. So one thing about bankroll is that I said you have dynamic or static bankroll, but then again you can divide those into two categories. There's mathematical bankroll and then there's psychological bankroll. Like mathematical bankroll is you calculate your win rate, standard deviation, and see how big swings you can probably have, and see that mathematically what kind of bankroll is enough. But as in PLO, you will have pretty amazing swings. Like even if you play conservative style and you don't really go for the flips, you play a little more safe, you will have 10 buy-in swings. No matter how tight you play, unless you are super nitty, you will have these 10 buy-in swings. Here we have top pair, top kicker, not flush draw, and he's a shorty. I'm going to shove. And he has two pairs, so we're flipping and we get at least half, and then we get the other half. We are actually ahead 51 on the flop. So it was plus EV shove. So there's this psychological bankroll. In PLO you will have 10 buying swings in a session. You can't avoid that. So now you have to ask yourself, how do you react if you lose 10 buy-ins in 1 hour? And of course, a lot of players say that, yeah, swings don't bother me, but when they suddenly lose 10 buy-ins in 1 hour and their EV is positive, it's going to hurt them. 8, 7, 7, 10. I'm going to fold. Because I don't want to hit set of 7s in 3-way pot while I'm in the middle of the sandwich. So you have to ask, how do you react if you lose a lot of money? And I know that if I'm running 10 buy-ins under EV, I'm wrecked. It hurts me. I did it today while playing in Zoom. I run 10 buy-ins under EV and it sucks. So I know that if my bankroll is 30 buy-ins and I lose 1/3 of it in session, let's say I have a $900 in my bankroll and I lose $300 in one session, it's going to feel bad and it's going to bother me, and then there's going to be a lot of strong emotions going on, which means that there's a possibility of me playing something else than my 8 game. But if I have 50 buy-in bankroll and I lose 1/5, 20%, it's not going to feel that bad. In table 2, would it be horrible to try to win the pot on the flop with raise? Well, I really don't know what hand does Spice Decision mean, so I assume yes. Here on table 4, I think I'm going to bet fold the river. Because he has some kings, he might have some flushes. Now he had 7 high flush and he paid me off. Here we have open ender and a flush draw and a 4-point check, so I'm going to bet the turn. Well, now as Run It Once has increased their security, I can tell you that about a year ago, or 1.5 years ago, was it half a year ago? Anyway, when they launched the site and sometime after it, they had a nice security problem because there was a way that you could watch all their videos for free when you just got the direct link to the video. But now they have fixed it, so no more free videos for anyone. And besides about trying to find some hacked videos or torrents for videos or using the security breaches, it's like any piratism. If you buy a pirate copies, it means that whoever made the video doesn't get paid. And for the teaching sites and educational sites, if you try to get their videos for free, or some players do that, they collect a bunch of people and they get one account and then everyone watches the videos from that one account. It means that whoever makes those videos, they don't get paid as they should be. And it means that either they are not going to make the videos anymore or the price of the videos goes up. And it doesn't really help any of us if either one of those happen. I reckon bets, I assume that he has some weak aces, flush draws, some stuff. If he bets the turn, I really think he has a better hand. When I had ace jack jack and the flop was ace queen, I'm not going to raise, I'm not going to make a blocker bluff against the fish on the screen player. It's just it doesn't work. They don't think what I might have. These type of players pretty much look their own hands. And on table 1 I'm making a c-bet, and if he doesn't fold I'm giving up, because I don't have anything on the flop. But it's ace high. It's hard for him to make moves if he doesn't have a hand. Yeah, Callan likes to keep bankroll in safe side. It's when someone plays professionally, it means that all or some of their income depends on poker. Those players often have pretty safe bankroll management. Because it's just a tool. It doesn't make sense to play professionally and then you have 100, or I mean 30 buy-in bankroll management. Because if you happen to have the major downswing, the mother of all downswings, it means that you're out of job. And all the PLO professionals I know have bankroll management of enough, like 200-300 buy-ins or more. It's just not an issue to them. But so, as you can see the videos, on some older videos I'm saying that my bankroll is $300, so I'm going to play PLO50. So it means our crowd has funded me for $300, and for this one session we don't use any 50 buy-in bankroll management. Because if I had a bankroll of 300 on my own money and I have to start to grind, I would probably start in PLO5 or PLO10. But if I play PLO5 4 tables in these PLO evenings, it means that no one pretty much wins anything. If I had a really nice upswing on session, I win $50, so everyone wins. Something like, how much they win? 2%. So that's why we are using really aggressive bankroll management on these evenings. Oh, I have played with 3 tables for a long time, so let's open up. There's a table for us, and there's actually a green player. And on these other tables, table number 1, the average players on flop is 17. So the table is pretty bad. There's 2 nits, and the research is on our left, so I'm going to close this table. Table 4 has gone bad. Tight, aggressive, so not much value in there. So I'm going to close it too and find some good ones. If you're playing micros, I'm going to stab the pot here on table 3, but it's an imp pot. It's hard for him to start making any moves if he doesn't have anything. If he calls, I have a lot of turn cards that helps me, but when he raises, I'm done. The other option is to check, and he probably bets and I have to fold, so at least I'm trying to win the pot. So if you're playing micros, I would say that yeah, you need to table select and choose the good tables, but don't do it too much. Like we have seen, we have a good table and after 10 minutes half of the players have changed. So you have to change tables all the time if you want to have the best tables. And you might have a good table, you get there on the waiting list, and when you finally get a seat on the table, the fishes have gone. So it's something you should always think about when sitting on tables. That's why I like my color codings. As long as I can see green color, it's not the worst table. But if it's filled with orange or red or yellow, it's not that great anymore. So when we have a bankroll or crowdfunding for about $300 this evening, it means that we have that one buy-in to play on PLO50. So if we happen to lose one buy-in, we go back to PLO25, but I think we are up around a couple of buy-ins at least today. I have to check it so we don't waste our whole funding if we happen to have few big hands. Although it brings bad karma if you're checking your results during the session, but yeah, we are up some amount of money, not going to tell you. Trying to save my karma. On this flop, there's a guy who probably folds a lot of his hands, and I think Alina is going to fold if he doesn't have anything, so I'm going to stab this flop. It's going to be a bet fold. And if someone calls, I'm pretty much giving up. So I'm just betting the flop. I would, in this spot against these players, I would bet the flop with all of my hands. Probably if I had some sort of flush draw and a lot of backdoors like King Jack 10 9 with flush draw, I might check back, see if I get something on the turn. But betting with any hand there is instant profit. If you have any questions about PLO poker or our crowdfunding or about our site or forum and you're watching this video on YouTube, please join us in pokerymania.com and you can ask us your questions on the chat or on the forums. Basically is asking if I'm playing for 2 hours. I'm going to play at least 1.5 hours, and often at that point I'm checking what's the conditions. If the tables are good and I'm feeling good, I might continue for some time, but if it has been a nightmare session, I might end in 1.5 hours. So Kauris 84 has joined us. It's Wednesday, so he's not probably drunk, but you can never be sure. It's summer in Finland, and table 1 is, yeah, I'm closing it. And now there's one table that I'm on a waiting list, and when I went to the waiting list, the players per flop was around 50, and now one player has left the table, and after that it has gone down to 26. So it means that probably there was one huge VPIP monster on the table and he left, so now it's full of regulars. It's really hot in here. It was around 26 or 27 degrees in Celsius out there, and my house is super hot during the summers. So let me see. I can't even see myself on the webcam, but yeah, I'm sweating. On table 4 we have open, we have 3, but we have double pair. I'm going to call, and if they just shove, it's not the end of the world. We have decent equity, and if we flop a set, we're probably getting paid. And we're going to hit the set 1 out of 4 times, so we need to win in around $5 in value if we hit our set. So it's quite easy. Yeah, table number 2 doesn't look tempting. There are no green players anymore. Table number 4 is not the greatest one. We have decent looking player on our left. Alina B here has opened only 3 hands before this, so I'm pretty scared that he might actually have aces. Or he has kings and he's just folding. But when someone has opened only a couple of hands, usually their opening range is strong, but that's not always the case. There's one Swedish player in PLO5 Zoom that I have over 1,000 hands on him, and his stats are 3-3-3. So as aces are, oh, this is tournament. Nice. It's the Shark Cage tournament. So the guy is playing 3-3-3. Where do I put this? Yeah, I made a deposit and got this Shark Cage tournament tickets. And, well, you get 10 tournament tickets. On these tournaments, 21 gets paid. And there are like 4,000 players, so it's like 0.5% to get a prize. So I'm just going to shove every hand, and if I win it, I win. If I don't, I don't. On table 3 I isolated, but this short is cold calling my 3-bet, and now he's want to put money in, so not much I can do. Yeah, so the guy who is playing with VPIP3 out of 1.2 thousand hands, aces are 2.5% of the range. So one might think that, yeah, his range is only aces, but he's actually 3-bet hands like King Queen 8-3, Queen Jack 6-5, trashy hands. Today he opened from under the gun 10-9-7-7 and shoved his flush draw on the flop with SPR of like 8 or something. So it means that about half of his range is total crap and the other half is some aces, but still it means that he is folding aces pre-flop. Now we have to suck out. No, now it's hard. 5. Ooh. So we lost free tournament ticket. Nice. So it means that I have few hands on him that went to showdown, and I was watching them. Out of the hands that have went to showdown, like 20% of the hands are aces and 80% are total trash. So it means he's folding aces pre-flop, and if someone is playing with VPIP3 4 table in Zoom every day, why does he fold aces pre-flop? And I tried to ask on the chat that he would add me to his Skype or contact me. I would like to ask him what the hell is going on. So I have no idea, but whatever he's doing, it doesn't make any sense. Because he doesn't have any logic how he plays his hands. He has VPIP3, but that 3% is made of some aces and total random hands. And here I have to bluff the river. He is really tight. He probably has a weak made hand, flush draw, straight draw. Although I have the ace high flush draw, but still the only way to win the pot is to bet the river, and he calls, and he had a turn set. Wow. Well, he's a Finnish guy. Well, he's not making money with 3-3-3 stats. He's losing. He's not losing much because he's folding a lot, but he's losing. And we have the blockers, which I'm... The bad thing is that I just lost the pot against this player. And now he's thinking for the full time bank, which is sort of suspicious. And this guy raises. I'm going to bluff this guy because I have blockers to the straight. And if he calls, I'm going to barrel as long as the board doesn't change. And he shoves on me. So now the thing is that I have the nut flush draw, which is 20%. It's going to be really, really close. And if I think that fives are outs or aces queens, I have to call. So I need to call it, and he has the straight, so bummer. We're looking at half of the pot back, but we had blockers, but he had a straight, and I think he played it perfectly. Because the flop was rainbow, he can slow play on the flop, and we got lucky, we won half back. Of course, now as I'm explaining at the same time as I'm playing, my thinking process can't be as complete as it could be if I'm playing without explaining, because in here, when I got the flush draw on the turn, if I make a bet, I have to think, what do I do if he shoves? So now I played in a fishy way. I made a bet, and when he raised, then I started to think what to do. So if I want to play it in a perfect way, I have to think it before I make the bet. On table 3-4, I stabbed the flop and he calls, so I'm not going to bet anymore. I got the straight on the river, which is a nice bluff catcher. But I don't think he's going to turn his overpair into a bluff. So he probably has at least a nut flush or full house. Here on table 3, I'm going to just call because I want this up duo to come along. I have open ender and nut flush draw and top pair, so I could go all in against this player, but I want this guy to call. And that eighth kinda sucks. But I don't think I can. 62 and 8. And now he's shoving into two people. I really think it's a full house. Might be a bad fold, but I really think he has a full house. Because I have the nut flush. I don't think he's ever shoving something like kings with flush draw there. And he raised against two people on the flop for a full pot. And when these type of player make a full raise, it's often they have the nuts. In 5-5 hand, yeah, but the thing is that if I had the straight, I would bet the turn big. Because here, there are so many river cards that doesn't help me, so I want to get as much money as possible to the pot on the turn. So against decent players, if I bet here like half a pot, I'm just giving him every odds to draw. And if he has a combo draw and I make a half a pot bet, he's not making a mistake, which means I'm not winning any money. So I'm betting big and make him fold something like 2 pairs. He might even fold set if he thinks he doesn't have enough implied odds. And the thing is that I have still $27, which means if he just calls a turn, he probably has 7-9 type of hand or 2 pairs or set. So there's a lot of rivers that I can get the rest in, and he's just going to fold it anyway. Because if he calls a turn and the river is blank, he shouldn't have any bluff catchers. Because if he's willing to invest rest of his stack with the set, he probably would raise it on the turn. On tempo 4 double suited aces, of course we're going to 3-bet and hope someone does something stupid. And no one does, but we flop the overpair and not flush draw. And this board is in a 3-bet pot, people often shove here some kind of pair plus flush draws. So often when we have the not flush draw, people are shoving with like queen 10 with queen high flush draw, and they actually have only 6 outs. Or less, actually queen 10 has only 4 outs against us. And if someone shoves 2 pairs, we are flipping. And even against set, we have still 11 outs. Here on demo 3, the turn and river kills our hand, so we are not probably going to win it. And the opponent called us on the flop with just a weak ace. That's what people do on PLO5. They call down with top pair, even without any kickers. We have gone through hour and 15 minutes. Time has gone so fast. I have had English is hard. I have had so much to talk about today. Not sure if I have missed something that I promised to talk about. If I have forgotten something, please remind me. At one point, I'm not sure if it was in English PLO evenings nights or in Finnish nights, I promised to talk about deep anti-tables, but I can't remember if I have talked about them or not. Not sure. Here we get 3-bet by Abdul. We have the ace blocker, but the thing is that even with ace blockers, he's not going to fold. So if we 4-bet, he's going to call, and even against random hand, we are sort of flipping. So I'm going to fold. On table 1, I hope the Haminin would raise, but he didn't. Bad spot to 3-bet. Now we're just bluff catching. Queen is a nice card, because when I call the flop, I often have 9-10. And now on the river, 3 pairs the board, which means I'm probably going to call if he bets. And he checks and I win the pot anyway. And table 1 has died. We flop a wrap. So when we have, how many cards we have here? 17 outs to straight minus some of the flush cards, we still have like 13 outs to the nuts. It means that we can call if he raises easily. So we can easily make a c-bet, and if he raises we can call. If he calls we have outs, and if he folds we are happy. And he raises, and then we call, and turn sort of kills our hand. I think a lot of times he's going to check and he has the full house. And on the river we kept the straight. It's just sort of those situations that he raises the flop. On the turn he checks, on the river he bets. He might have like just a nut flush draw. I don't think he's raising the flop with just the flush draw, but he might have something like ace queen. He knows we don't have a full house ever, but he is check raising flop only 10% of the time, which is actually smaller than normal sample size. And the hands we can beat here are 9, 10 of diamonds. We have 1, 10 and 9 in our hand. Queens with the flush draw, we have a queen in our hand, and the way he plays it makes sense with pocket kings, so I'm going to fold it, although we make the straight on the river. He also might have ace queen with the diamond draw, and he knows we don't have a full house, so he can value bet his not straight there. Because I really think that if he had a draw he would bet the turn. Of course he might go to 11 wars, and he knows that I know that he's going to bet his air on the turn, so he's going to check his air and bluff the river, but I think most of the time he has a hand that beats us. Paistisini asked if these games are bad. Well, they are sort of bad. There aren't as many huge retards as we had last week, but then again there haven't been that many tricky players against us. There have been some green players, and as we saw, the Richard regular made some spewy plays on few hands. He overplayed his hand pretty badly, so it was surprising to see. And let's see if we can find some decent tables. I'm going to put myself in the waiting stuff. Most of tables, table 4 is, well, all of them have VPIP over 30, so Paistisini is commenting tables. Again, I have no idea what hand you are talking about, so I can't agree or disagree with you. So if you want my opinion, you should state what was my hand so I can find it on the replayer. On table 2 there's big pot going on. I don't know what has happened, but the pot is $67 on the turn. Russian and Germany is fighting on. And on table 3 we have a big pot coming up. And on table 4 I'm just barreling. And now I have actually the nut blockers. But if he has ace 9 or ace king or ace jack, he's going to call me anyway, so I don't see a value in betting. But if he bets, I'm probably going to call, because he has not a missed flush draw, and he had a nut flush draw. And on table 2 we 3-bet this button shorty, and we hit the top pair and flush draw, so we're getting it in. So we have around half an hour to go. Yeah, I had a straight. Well, I don't think it's that easy, because the problem is that it goes to the leveling war. It's like, when I take the turn, I create a situation where he can bluff me. He knows I don't have a full house, and he has full house in his range. So his range is crossing my range. I can almost never have a full house there when I check the turn. And on table 4 I'm going to call if he bets the river. It's a backdoor flush. And he checks, so I'm making a small value bet out of straight. And he folds, so he probably didn't have anything. If he had a straight, I think he would have at least thought for a few seconds about hero calling. So again, we have 21 viewers adjusting at this point. Shut-up, let me see, it's around 37. Yeah, I'm going to open this table and I'm going to close the table 4. Because none of them is really fishy player. They have high VPIP, and MV Sun is sort of fishier type, but none of them is a huge ATM. So I'm going to change the table, and well, actually the table that just opened isn't any better. So I'm not going to get that table actually. So there's 21 viewers at Justin TV, and we have only 6 members in our chat. So it means that either we have plenty of members that are just watching and not joining the chat, or we have some viewers that are not members of pokermania.com. So if you are not a member, please join. So next week you can be on the chat and talk with us about the PLO poker and such. On table 2 I'm going to check and probably peel a turn card. And 6 gives us some nut outs, but I would much rather see Jack or 10 Queen 9 to give top 2 or wrap, but this is a spot where Fast Eddie can see bet his whole range, because neither of us have a straight. But I'm not going to fight, because I don't really have much equity. One other option is to bet myself on the turn, but then again it's sort of turning some showdown value into a bluff. On table 1 we have a nutty hand. I'm going to call. I want to create a multi-way pot. And let's see if we hit the flop or not. And we don't. But we have plenty of backdoors. We have 3 backdoors, 2 straights and 1 flush. So it's like a Brokeback Mountain. Too many backdoors. If this guy had bet like $1 or $1.50, I would have peeled the turn to see if I get any extra equity on the turn. This guy flopped the nuts and managed to win only $11 in position. I'm interested to see what the hell he did. How can he win that small of a pot? Open call. Yeah, that's why. He flops the nuts and he checks back the flop. He opened, he called pre-flop. I think when this guy checks, I think he should bet, because it looks really bluffy. When he checks, he probably can bet his whole range there. So he might have a smaller flush that he is check calling always. He might have a set. So I think he's a shorty. He should bet the flop to get some money in on the turn. But he checks the flop, and on the turn now he makes 1/3 of a bet with the nuts. And on the river he makes small bet with the nuts, and the other guy had a straight. Wow. I'm amazed that this guy didn't c-bet the flop, and this guy's low played all the way up to showdown. On table 2 I'm getting it in against this shorty. I have top 2 and 2 overs. And he inched the shoves, he probably have a set. Or a straight draw. And he has a set of 6s, so we are drawing the 4 outs. But he also have aces, he have king 6, he has ace king that he might overplay. Yeah, it's going downhill. As I told you, I have a downswing today. No more curls, now it's just Brokeback Mountain. Only backdoors for me. I'm not sure if this guy can fold, because when he just calls the flop, I don't think I'm betting. I have a double cut shot, but he probably has something. On table 1 I make a small 3-bet. I hit the nuts and I don't get any action. Too bad. This guy is definitely a green player. Playing with almost every hand, and it just sucks when this super fizzy player is on your table and then you have a bottom set versus top 2. You sort of set up, they're playing all their hands and they just happen to hit the pretty much dream scenario for them. This guy is pretty aggressive post flop. He's donking on almost all the flops. But I don't have any sample size, so I'm not going to make any huge bluffs on him, as I don't have the reads. But might be that he raises or calls these I'm going to check raise him on the turn. And he probably has hand now. It's always when I do these moves, they have a hand. And when I raise the turn, I have to bet the river. He might have a flush draw. He's such a fishy player. And he does so. Yeah. When he calls my raise there with a flush draw, he's fish. I think if he had a trip fives, he would either shove the turn or call the river. He doesn't fold trip fives on the river. I have seen it happen on the tables, what Callan is referring to, that people check royal, well, I have seen it with the straight flush, but people check back straight flush on the river in position because they want to show the hand. They don't know how to show the hand if they bet and someone folds. On table 3 we hit the straight and he checks the flop, so we're betting the turn. And on the table 4, none bet the flop, so our queen high flush is often the best hand, so we have to bet it, but we don't get any action. And then we just fold and fold. Here we have, I'm actually going to limp this hand. 9 to 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have a straight. I sometimes have to double check. And I'm not going to overplay it against this caramboler. So I'm going to take a call, make a call down. He has been such an aggressive player that, well, if he pots the river, it's going to be awkward, but he bets half a pot, and I have underread my hand for the whole way, and of course he have the nudge. Happens. Straight versus straight against aggressive fish. There's not much you can do. I'm not going to fold against this player. He has really high post aggression. He has raised and bet and donk on a lot of boards. Well, the sample size is small, but out of those 11 hands he has been aggressive on almost everyone. On table 4 I'm going to actually bet the turn, because he shouldn't have that many full houses or trips. So if he raises, I can happily fold. And if he calls, I have so many outs to make a hand if he is taking a call down with overpaired flush draw. And he shoves the river. Wow. Oops. I don't think he's ever shoving as a bluff. It's a bad spot. So I'm going to call, because the reason why I called is that so far he has folded all his small blinds and he's sort of tight player. So if he calls me from the small blind, he often has a strong hand like he has here. And if he has these high cards and strong hands, he shouldn't really have a lot of 7-4, 7-2, 7-3. He might have a 7, something like Jack 10, 9, 7 type of hands. And when he just calls the flop and turn, I don't think he has a full house. So the only hand that I'm actually scared that he might bet the river is 7-3 or 5-6. But as he has played so tight from the small blind, I don't think he often has. He might have trip sevens that he's shoving for value. He might have aces or kings with the king high flush draw. And I'm not sure. Well, of course his shove is better than checking, because I'm not betting the river with any worse hand. So his shove is decent. It's just the only hand that he can make me fold, which is equal or better, is ace-5. With 5-6 I'm pretty much calling always. And I'm not going to call him with worse hand. Trip sevens I might call. So not sure if he value bet it against trip sevens or something. But basically the reason why I called it was really close, and he has played so tight on the small blind, and he's type of player that doesn't just call with wide range on the small blind, which means that the range I put him on doesn't hit the river in a full house way. So that's why I called, but it was pretty close. Maybe if his stats were a little different, I might have folded. Yeah, because I don't go for big bluffs. Yeah, but there was a couple of hands between those. Interesting question from Newlands is that when I'm speaking English, is my thinking process English? I'm not sure, it actually might be. But the problem is that all the PLO material and content I have read and watched on internet are pretty much in English. So I find myself often that when I'm playing, I'm actually thinking in some sort of half English, half Finnish way. But I think that now when I'm speaking English, I actually might sometimes think in English. I don't know. Maybe if someone could record my thinking, it would be different. On table 3, we call with top pair. We have 2 pairs against this same guy. I'm going to call, and often call the river. And we win the hand. Yay. It's just, if a guy raises you often, it's just either they have hit their hand 4 times in a row, or then they are super aggressive. And this carambola really looks like 89-22, likes to see a lot of flops and is super aggressive post flop. I would assume that he's playing only one table. Yeah, one tournament, $30 PLO 50-50, and probably recreational player, just having fun. So they try to win every hand. And we told him is the flop not going to invest any more money. And he has donked 4 out of 5 flops, so he's donking on almost every flop. But I'm not going to raise him on this board without anything. Here against Simon, I'm going to call. I have the nut blockers. The thing is that I didn't, if I had hit the 10 on the turn, or let's say ace on the turn, I can represent the nut straight, I can bet he calls if he has a set, and on the river I can make him fold. But now if I call, he is often going to check call with his set, even if the straight cuts there. So when he bets this big on the turn, I'm just going to fold. If I had gotten 5 of hearts on the turn, I think I might have called, because then I have a cut shot and a flush draw, and sometimes I can make a cheap bluff on the river. Ace is on table 4. Totally missed the flop. Strong hand pre-flop, paper on the flop, but I'm going to make a stab. And we win the pot. Although the board is looking sort of scary, but when we make a c-bet, it's enough that we win the pot like 60% of the time, and even if they call, sometimes the board pairs on the turn, we can make their fold, or we actually hit the ace on the turn. Or the hand goes to showdown and the pocket aces is nice. Why didn't bet 2 pairs? It wasn't top 2. If it was top 2, I would have bet, but he's so aggressive that when he checks, I honestly think that he might try to check raise me. I'm always profiling players, try to go into their head and understand what they are thinking, and the way this guy has played so far, I think he's a player that is putting a lot of effort to every hand he plays. Like he's calling, he's limping, he just wants to see flops, and on the flop, if he has any piece of the board, he's trying to win it. He's donking 5 out of 6 spots, he's check raising, he's calling, raising turns. So I think that suddenly when an aggressive player checks, he might be trapping. So when he checks the turn, my hand isn't strong enough to call if he raises, so I'm just going to check. If I had a king queen there, I probably would have bet it. I'm actually going to stop playing in 5 or 10 minutes. And on table 1, pre-flop, sometimes you might argue about 3-betting, especially if he's a shorty. But the thing is that he min opens now. I can raise to $3. So if I 3-bet him, the pot would be $6, and he has $27 behind him. So it would be an SPR of, how much is it? 4. Around SPR 4. And I have pocket kings. So if he's thinking about his equity against aces, he often estimates it rightly against my kings. So the most of my value comes from hitting a king or flush draw. So I'm just going to call and sort of turn my hand into a bluff catcher. And flop is sort of dry. I have a backdoor flush draw over pair, and he makes small c-bet. I'm calling. On this turn, if he would have bet the turn, I probably fold, because then he has an ace. But when he checks the turn, I check, and on the river, I think if he bets the river, I would call, because I don't think he has any small flushes. He has a lot of missed draws that he might bluff on the river. But he had pocket queen, so we win the pot. Guy has VPIP 80, he's a green player. Now this Russian guy is, I don't know what happened to him, but he's opening a lot of pots now. And we have aces against the shorty. Too bad none of the players are happy 3-betters. So we can shove our aces pre-flop. Well, I think that Sekme has aces here often. Or deuce. And I don't like his calling on the flop if he's not ready to go all in on the turn. Because when this GG top guy here raises on the turn, he has one pot size left on the turn. Like he 3-bets, he calls. Half a pot c-bet. This guy raises. It's not even a pot size raised. So if this guy has aces, he should make the decision now. Call flop, call any turn, or fold. When he calls, and now he has $28 left and the pot is 44. Almost half a pot left. And now he decides to fold. It's a horrible play in my mind. So he needs to make the decision on the flop. Either fold aces or call or shove. But don't call flop and fold turn. And he's super aggressive guy. I'm actually going to give him, oops. Yellow color because he's opening almost every pot now. And if he didn't have a deuce in the last hand, it's pretty bad bluff on the turn because this guy has aces pretty much always. So if he's just trying to make him fold aces with a half a pot bet on the turn, it's so bad, but it worked. It shouldn't work, but it did. But of course his range is any 4, so he can have the quad aces. Although I don't think he would ever raise the quads. Earlier he almost checked to showdown with the nuts. So I think he don't have the deuce in his hand. So if Sekme folded aces, it's a bad fold. Almost said that, yay, we had 3-bet with aces, but we had aces here on the bottom table. But on table 2, of course, we're calling in position. And we flop decently. And Sekme bets. I'm going to shove. Because we are pretty much behind ace king, and even against that we have a lot of outs, and we are ahead of him. And we win the pot. And on table 3 I'm going to bluff catch this carambola with my 10 high flush. The king on the river doesn't really change anything. And we got 2 streets out of him. He overplayed his 6 high flush horribly. On the river he should check back always, because if I don't have a flush I have a set or 2 pairs. So I have a full house on the river. But as we see, these guys don't think. He thinks he has a flush, bet. Yeah, Callion is right. Sekme played it badly. And he's a regular, sort of solid, but that's a horrible mistake on his part. On table 1 we don't have anything going on, so we close it. Well, what hand can he have that he 3-bets this aggro fish pre-flop and bet calls the flop? If he has kings, the same thing. On the flop he should decide, am I folding or am I going? He can't call and then fold turn, because on the turn the board doesn't change ever. So whatever he has, it's a bad play. And if he didn't have aces, it's a bad call on the flop. So if he's going to 3-bet kings out of position against super fizzy player, it's even a worse play. I don't think he should ever 3-bet kings there. On table 4 against unknown. The thing is that we have a 1-minute delay on our stream, which is to prevent any abuse of the streaming. But it might be that we need to increase the delay a bit, because there has been many occasions that especially Finnish players tend to think for their whole time bank in situations that really aren't that difficult. So probably no one is abusing our stream, but if I get a feeling that someone is abusing, it's going to affect my play. And as I'm using crowdfunding money, I think it's better to play it safe. So it might be that we increase the delay a bit, or we're going to play Zoom more, because that's the pretty much only drawback of these streams, is that someone might abuse it because it shows my whole card. But there has been many occasions, even in these sessions, there has been more Finnish players that have used their time bank against me and not against anyone else. So it's really suspicious. So I much rather play it safe than regret later. But now we have gone for 2 hours. I think it's time to go to bed. It's Wednesday, for God's sake. Sekme folds 80% of his big blind, so I'm going to open any 4 against him. Well, fish didn't 4-bet earlier. This fish pretty much, he checked the flop with nut flush. He bet 1/3 of a pot on the turn with the nut flush, and he bet 1/5 of the pot on the river with the nut flush. So he can definitely just call aces pre-flop and trying to be tricky. There's no logic in his decisions. So I'm going to actually sit out on the tables, and after that we can see if we manage to keep our winnings. and make the, I don't know if it's first profitable night in our English PLO nights. Not sure. We have been winning an EV, but not for real, I think. Not sure. Yeah, the more lag, the harder it's to interact, so I think we need to discuss about it. What would be the best solution? One other option is to just put up all the nicknames for suspicious players and see if they come to the tables. And then if it seems that they are abusing the stream, just report them to stars or something. And one other option is to play Zoom. There it's so hard to abuse the stream because you have to play so many hands against unknowns. And the action is faster. But we'll talk about it and see what would be the good solution. And we have to see how. Now it's actual delay is like 1.5 minutes, which is enough for normal hands. But if someone is actually using time bank on the flop and then thinks for the whole time bank on the turn, he might be able to see the cards. So if we increase it just by 15 seconds or half a minute, the delay would be around 2 minutes instead of 1.5 minutes, which is not the end of the world, I think. Not sure. Of course, if you have an opinion, please post it to the feedback thread. So, whatever it is. So, we ended up this way. 129 profit or 130 and EV is 73. Actually, the reason why we are running under EV is that we had the flush draw against the straight, or what was it, where we won half of our pot back. So we ran over EV. Yeah, well, we called with the flush draw on the turn when he had the straight that we tried to represent. So we won $50 instead of $20. So this is the graph that I really like. It's never below the zero, really. So from the get-go it goes up. It's always nice to have these kind of graphs than the ones that go down, 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 down. And in the end we manage to get something. It's a lot better feeling after this one. But anyway, thanks for this. And for those who understand Finnish, there's PLO night at Friday. Of course, you are more than welcome to join. Even if you don't understand Finnish, you can always watch the stream and you can definitely come to the Finnish chat and speak English there. Most of us understand English, so if you have any super important questions, I'll be able to answer them. But that's for me. There weren't any super exciting hands to see in the end, so I don't know if PokerStars care for stream abuse situation, but I think it's against their terms and conditions. So I think if we get a proof that someone is coming to my tables every time we are streaming, it's at least as suspicious that PokerStars might be interested. At least I'm interested, so if anyone comes there, then I know to just avoid that player. And then I know for sure that someone is abusing my stream, so we have to put up to the security. But that's for now. Now I go to bed. I have to wake up in the morning. It's a Thursday tomorrow. So see you all next week on Wednesday. And Finnish viewers, I'll see you on Friday evening. Bye bye for now.